Welcome into Sportsmemo's betting podcast for September 23rd. It's Monday. That means NFL opening line report here at sportsmemo.com with Teddy Covers. Teddy, welcome in. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, Drew. I didn't have a great weekend. Pretty frustrating day in the NFL yesterday, although I'm sure I wasn't the only one. Lots of games in the NFL on Sunday came down to the wire, ATS, and unfortunately I was on the wrong side of a couple of them. But nonetheless, what are we at? 60% full season NFL and college combined, 70% NFL run coming into the new week. So I can't complain too much. It's been pretty good overall. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right, Teddy. I just got to add, man, NFL since 2015, last 5 years, 185 and 132. That's my favorite stat line, Teddy, for 5 years, man, 58% in the NFL. This is the NFL opening line report. So excited to get your opinion on this because I need it, man. And how am I doing? I had a losing weekend, but, it's Monday. Got the new sound in. So some people saying podcast sounding like I'm podcasting from a submarine. Hopefully that's gone, but let us know on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets or at Teddy_covers. Hopefully you can put me on some right sides here in the NFL, Teddy. So what do you say we get after it?
Let's do it.
All right, man. Any quick thoughts here on the Monday Nighter tonight for the listeners on Monday? We got Chicago at Washington. Looks like 41.5 the total and 5.5 pretty much across the board. The Bears laying on the road.
Yeah, I'm not even close to getting involved in tonight's game, to be perfectly honest. I don't trust laying this type of a price on the road with the Bears tonight. That offense hasn't worked at any point this season, didn't work down the stretch last year. Chicago is certainly not, they're a public side the night after. Remember, the Rams were the big public side last night and the wise guy side, and they cashed in. And you don't always see the road favorites come through back-to-back Sunday night, Monday night. I can't lay with Chicago here. They haven't, what do they have? One offensive touchdown this year?
Yeah, really. Not many.
I mean, it's not a bet I'm comfortable making. At the same time, we've seen it twice now from the Redskins. Each of the first 2 weeks, as soon as their opponent was like, all right, let's figure out the offense. As soon as they started scoring, it was just touchdown, 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 touchdown. Washington's defense is an absolute mess. They're not a team I'm excited about. I found a price that was good enough for me to get on Miami yesterday, and I paid the price for getting attracted to a very bad team. And Washington's a very bad team. I'm really doing my best to avoid getting on board with the 4 or 5 bottom feeders in the NFL, and they're there, and the Redskins are clearly one of them. So sidewise, I got nothing. And total-wise, do I trust Trubisky to score? No. Do I trust the Redskins defense to get stops? No. I could picture, 30-27 tonight. I could picture 14-13. So total-wise, I've really no opinion. And, of course, that means the props. I don't have a strong opinion either. When you don't have an opinion on side, you don't have an opinion on total, it's hard to bet these props, man. So Monday Night Football tonight will be a watch and learn, not a bet. And frankly, it's not even a game where I'm planning on live betting. I don't see anything that's going to get me to the window for Redskins-Bears tonight. Easy pass for me.
Fair enough, Teddy. And that's a good thing about being a sports bettor. You get to decide how much to bet and what to bet. So let's get into what to bet here on the NFL opening line report. 101-102 Thursday nighter. We got Philadelphia at Green Bay. Packers laying 4.5 in Lambeau. Looks like 45 or 45.5 being the total right now, Teddy.
And I want to go back to your point just real quick. The single biggest edge that any of us has over the bookmakers is exactly what you said. They have to put out a side and total for every single game. And all we have to do is find one of them that's a little bit off. And there's a wager. So, that's the edge that we have. We don't have to bet everything. We don't have to bet most of everything. We can pick and choose our spots. Bettors should remember. When it comes to, we're talking Thursday night now, Philly, Green Bay.
Yes, sir.
I do the same thing every week. I give you the look-ahead line, which was the betting number available. I use the Westgate numbers from last week. So they put out, the week 4 numbers in week 3, which tells you how much the point spread has changed since last week, or the power ratings have changed on these two teams. I'll also give you my power rating number that I make for every game. And then we'll talk about where the markets are likely to move for this one. Philadelphia, Green Bay, look-ahead line was 2.5. My power rating number is 3.5. And the markets are at 4.5 this morning. We've seen significant Green Bay support, not just because they're 3-0, not just because their defense has been dominant over the first few weeks of the season, but Philadelphia with their receiving core banged up beyond belief, and without Jackson and Jeffrey, it's a very different looking Eagles offense. And we've seen Carson Wentz make a lot of mistakes the last couple of weeks because he hasn't had his best receivers to throw to. But all that said, and of course now Philly's on the short week with the banged up receivers. This line is going to move based on Philly's injury report, plain and simple. And first thing Monday morning, we don't have a good sense of what Philly's injury report is going to be. It was pretty ugly against Detroit, and that line opened 7 and closed 4. The wise guys were all over betting against the Eagles last week, and we may see more of that this week. But that's going to be an injury report situation that we're going to have to see what the news is as Thursday approaches. Note long term, the Thursday night road teams have had problems, and of course, we saw that not the case in the first 2 weeks of the season, but most assuredly the case last week. Tennessee not prepared on the road at Jacksonville, and a pretty ugly loss for Titans backers.
All right, Teddy, let's head to the Sunday slate. Early slate on Sunday. We got Carolina at Houston. Looks like Houston -4.5 or -5, and it is a limited marketplace right now, 46 being the total.
Yeah, there was no look-ahead line on this game because they didn't know the status of Cam Newton. My powering number without Cam Newton is 5.5. Houston -5.5 in this game. And the markets are moving in that direction. It was announced today that Newton is going to be out again this week. And Allen was pretty good against Arizona. No question. But again, we talk about the results that you have against the true bottom feeders. And Arizona's a true bottom feeder. I know they had a decent look in the fourth quarter against the Lions. They caught fire. I know they had a decent look against a Baltimore team that looked right past them. But we saw it pretty clearly yesterday in the trenches. Arizona's got problems. In the secondary, Arizona's got problems. Right now, the offense is mostly dink and dunk, all of which means for Carolina, Houston, that maybe we're seeing some of the success from the Panthers be devalued off of that performance. They were pretty good. They were good on both sides of the football. And the Texans haven't exactly been chalk machines in the O'Brien era. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of Carolina money here. Maybe not a lot, but we could see some.
Teddy, we got Cleveland at Baltimore up next with the Ravens laying 6 at home, 45.5 or 46 being the total.
So this is probably what I would call the emergency line alert for today. This line's going up. Look ahead line worth noting 3.5. My powering number 4.5. And that's after a significant adjustment for Cleveland's injuries. The markets are, was already at 6, and several of the leading indicator shops are saying this could easily go higher. And of course, given the Browns' injury report, it may well go higher. Cleveland, of course, played last night without all 4 starters in their secondary. It mattered after halftime. They had a great defensive game plan early, but we've seen it now in back-to-back. Really, we've seen it all 3 weeks this season. Baker Mayfield does not look comfortable in this offense. And I kept, I was making excuses for it, saying, well, this is the right week. No, this is the right week. And maybe it was Wade Phillips confused him last night. But the Browns' offensive line has been getting decimated, and Mayfield's got the yips. We saw it all over and over again last night. It'd be a 3-man rush or a 4-man rush, and he starts rolling out to the right and getting thrown off his back foot. I mean, we saw it 10 times last night, it felt, where he's not, he's leaving the pocket. He's not stepping up in the pocket. Mayfield's not right. The markets see it. There will be Baltimore money in this game. There's already been Baltimore money.
I like it. I can see that, Teddy. Good look there. We got NFC East here. Washington at New York Giants. Looks like the Giants mostly 3s at home right now, 47 the total.
Yeah, a look-ahead line here was Giants -2. My powering number is Giants -3.5. The markets are at 3 right now. If the Redskins win tonight, this will come shorter. If the Redskins get blown out tonight, it'll still probably come Giants 3. So, maybe there's 3.5. Maybe there's 3.5. But again, don't be fooled. The headlines today are Daniel Jones won the game. No, the Giants lost that game, but Tampa missed a chip shot field goal. All right? And the reason the Giants lost that game, and I cashed a ticket on the Giants yesterday, and the clients did as well. So it's not like I'm saying this is someone that wasn't paying attention or wasn't in. The Giants lost that game Their defense was so bad. It's one thing, and that's why I bet them. I didn't think Tampa's offense could move the ball like that, and they can against that Giants defense. And Daniel Jones made some plays. The Bucs defense didn't. And a couple of big plays on fourth down, and the Giants won a lucky one. But that was not a buy sign on the Giants, not with a defense right now that's as bad as anything this side of Miami. So again, they're the mainstream media. Giants won, Daniel Jones. Giants won, Daniel Jones. Well, again, yeah, the final score says they won. They didn't win the game. All right, Gay missed a field goal and so on and so forth. But it's a bad defense. It's a hard defense to lay points with. And this number is likely to be affected by what happens tonight, but more likely to go down if the Redskins look good than to go up if the Redskins look bad.
Well, this side of Miami, let's head down to Miami, and the LA Chargers will, and have to lay 16.5 in Miami Gardens, 44.5 the total here, Teddy. You've brought up the Dolphins, and man, this is a tricky handicap. I'm not sure. We got Pacific Coast at the Atlantic Coast, and not a very good team hosting. So what are you thinking here?
Look ahead line, Chargers minus 16.5. I want to talk about my power rating number here for a minute. My power rating number is 14. Okay. I have Miami. I've been doing this. I started making power ratings the first year I was in Vegas in 1998. Miami right now is the lowest power rating NFL team, lowest power rating NFL team I've ever had. Worse than the 0 for Browns, worse than the 0 for Lions. That's where Miami is, and my number came 14. Okay.
Interesting.
Are the Dolphins the worst team of all time? They might be. Yesterday's showing was not a confidence-inducing showing, and the quotes after the game were every bit as bad as the game itself. Look, Dallas didn't show up yesterday at all. All right, my handicap was half right, that the Cowboys didn't care. The Cowboys were going to go through the motions, and they did. And Miami moved the ball a little bit in the first half. They had a missed field goal that was crucial to the spread. They had a turnover, with Kenyon Drake inside the 3-yard line that was crucial to the spread. But the Dolphins were every bit as bad in week 3 as they were in week 1 and week 2, which means, they gave up 2 different 100-yard rushers yesterday, dude. every time that, and it wasn't like one long gain. It was just every time they'd hand off, it'd be 2nd and 2, 2nd and 1, wide open receivers downfield, and blown coverages, missed assignments. The special teams were bad for Miami yesterday. There are issues everywhere. And then after the game, the quote from the Dolphins, the quote from Josh Rosen is, well, we're figuring these things out. We're getting better. They weren't better. So do you want to lay with the Chargers? The Chargers look, they continue to shoot themselves in the foot. They've done it each of the last 3, every week so far. Did it against Indy with the red zone turnover. They did it against Detroit with the red zone turnover. They were the better team in both games. One went into overtime, one they lost. They were every bit as good as Houston yesterday, but, it's something's not right in L.A. right now, and they're not a team I want any part of. And note the fact that the money's come heavily against Miami in every game right from the get-go. Not this week. Still sitting at 16.5 as we talk here on Monday morning.
Yeah, not much movement off the open. Good point there, Teddy. Next game up, we got Oakland at Indianapolis. Looks like 45 being the total, 6.5 the Colts laying at home.
The look-ahead line was 6. My powering number is 6.5. The markets are at 6.5. I thought about using this as an emergency betting alert because I do think this line is going to go to 7. It may well go to 7. If you want Indy, I would get the 6.5 sooner rather than later. But I don't know if it's going to stay there. The Raiders weren't as necessary. There were a lot of things wrong in the loss at Minnesota yesterday. They weren't in the game. The defense got slapped. I think Carr had, 5 incomplete passes? Carr was pretty good. And he was under pressure, and he was getting sacked, and he was still pretty good. And Indy, we've seen it now. For some reason I've watched more, a lot of the Colts in each of their first 3 weeks. They're not a we can lay a touchdown with this team type of squad. They're a good dog. They're going to be in a lot of close games. They're not an easy team to lay with. So I do think this line is a decent shot of getting to 7. If you like Indy, I bet them now, but it's not one that I got to the betting window with. Again, look ahead in my powering number right where the market is right now.
And Teddy, quick question for you specifically for the Raiders. Seeing South Point hanging a 7, CG hanging a 6.5 with juice, whereas most other shops are just at 6.5. With the Raiders going to Vegas, is it something you think there's going to be kind of a tax on the Las Vegas sports books with the Raiders going forward?
No. I mean, again, it'll vary from book to book. The books that are going to cater to recreational bettors, there's already been a little bit of, the Raiders are already the number one team. Or at least they were early in the season. The last time I talked to a couple of contacts that I had after, I think it was after week 2, so it wasn't even that long ago. But they said there was a definitive difference for Oakland support now compared to 2, 3, 4 years ago, that the public here in Vegas is on Oakland. But that's not going to affect the point spread in the broader marketplace. It's not going to affect the point spread at the books that don't cater to recreational shops, and those are the ones that drive the broader market.
Gotcha. Okay, good point there, Teddy. We got Kansas City at Detroit up next. Looks like the Chiefs laying 6 on the highway, 54 the total.
Look ahead line here, KC minus 4.5. My powering number has KC minus 4.5. The market's a little bit higher than that. I'll tell you this. There has been money against the Chiefs week 1. There was money against the Chiefs week 2. There was money against the Chiefs week 3. There will be money against the Chiefs week 4. If you like Detroit, get the 6 now. But again, this is one where there will be a disparity between the books that cater to recreational players and books that cater to wise guys. The wise guys have tipped their hand on the Lions. They like the Lions. Lions defense was pretty good again yesterday. But on the other hand, without the kick return touchdown, without Philly's bad turnovers, the Lions lose that game. Quote after the game, good quote from Matthew Stafford after the game. He's saying, hey, it's good that we're winning games when we're not playing at our best. Because they haven't played at their best. Though I don't know what their best actually is. And neither do the markets. That's why there's been support for Detroit and against KC every game. But there's also at least one impact injury we have to talk about. Darius Slay, Lions shutdown cornerback, someone you're going to need against Kansas City. He got hurt yesterday, did not return to the ballgame. His status is crucial, if you ask me, if you're going to make a play on the Lions as a home dog. As for Kansas City, again, Mahomes is doing stuff that nobody else can do. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. It's not even that close. He's making my every single game. You're just, wow, what? How did he? What did he? Oh my God! He's the best quarterback, and the Chiefs have the best offense. Defensively, they've been gashed, and that's why the wise guys continue to go against them. But it's not a defense that has to play shutdown balls. It's a defense that has to stop you in the 20s. Lions' red zone offense has been spotty at times this season.
Teddy, next game up, we got AFC East. New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. Looks like 43.5 the total, with the Pats laying 7 on the road.
So again, I talked about where my number is with Miami. And I have Miami power rated literally as the lowest team that I've ever had in 20 years. So the Patriots right now are as high as any team I've ever had. I've got them as high as the 2007, or was it the undefeated season Patriots. I've got them 3.5 points better than anyone else in the NFL, and that might be short, and that's without Antonio Brown. Look ahead line was 6.5. My priority number is 6. So you see what I'm saying with New England? There's a little bit of exuberance here. And look, the Pats and the Bills, this is an intense rivalry, and New England's had their number for decades. Every once in a while the Bills come in. I think that I went back to look, they won twice straight up in the last 5 years, once at New England, once at home. But they're few and far between. Certainly, if you look at Josh Allen against New England last year, he had his fair share of problems. The Patriots aren't a team anyone's looking to step in front of right now. We've already seen money come on New England. And the leading indicator books, there's some 7.5s popping up. If you like the Pats, lay 7 today. Don't wait.
All right, Teddy. And we're talking with Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_covers. He's 185 and 132. That's 58% in the NFL since 2015. That's the last 5 years there. Started off this season at 60% so far in the NFL and college football, sitting at 24 and 16. And last year combined in the NFL and college football, 81 and 58. That's 58%. There's a lot of 58%, 60% in there. He's also 4-1 in his 5% plays year to date in the NFL and college football. And we got a podcast special here Guys, it's saving $400 off of his NFL and college football full season package using the coupon code TEDDY400. That's TEDDY 400, TEDDY400 at checkout for NFL and college football full season. We'll take $400 off. TEDDY400 coupon code at checkout. Next game up, we got Tennessee at Atlanta. Looks like the Falcons laying 4 in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 46 the total, Teddy.
So look-ahead line here was Atlanta minus 4.5. My powering number is Atlanta minus 4. And, you know, there were 5s last night, and it's down to 4 today. So the early money has come for Tennessee. Keanu Neal, you know, big injury for Atlanta yesterday. Suffered a torn Achilles. He's done for the season. This is the guy who was hurt last year, and the defense fell apart immediately after that injury. Well, him and 3 other guys got hurt, but it was obviously a problem for Atlanta. And the Falcons coming off another. They played a decent second half against Indy. The box score looks okay if you watch the game. And again, Matt Ryan. I look at the box score. I'm like, wow, Ryan had a good game. And then when I was watching the game, I'm like, And he threw that one bad pick, and you're like, So when the box score numbers look one way and the eye test looks a little bit different, that certainly stood out to me. But you want to talk about a team that looked bad to the eye test. Tennessee was a no-show last week. And the thing that shocked me the most was how big of a no-show they were on the offensive line. You know, that's been the strength of that team. In many sense, but Taylor Lewin hurt, and Mariota couldn't make any plays because he didn't have any time to throw the football. This week he should have a little bit more time against Atlanta's front four. But the quotes from the Falcons after yesterday's loss were positive quotes. They're like, hey, we're better than this. We can figure this stuff out. But Atlanta's not a team I want to step in front of this week. I'll put it that way.
Teddy, next game up, we got Tampa Bay at the L.A. Rams. And the Rams, the defending NFC champions here, laying doubles at home, 51 the total.
Look headline here, Rams minus 9.5. My powering number, Rams minus 10. There's enough positives in Tampa through this 1-2 start to like some things about the Bucs. They've been able to run the football. They've controlled the line of scrimmage on defense a fair bit of the time. But Jameis is making mistakes, and I don't know if they're cursed right now. Again, the whole shenanigans with them getting into field goal range, and then Arians taking the delay of game penalty to get the angle better for his kicker, and then his kicker missing it by like an inch. That's something that's fairly unique to Tampa, but those type of mistakes will kill you against a team like the Rams. Though you wonder about this spot here for L.A., and I don't think this line's going to go a ton higher because of the spot for L.A. They're off back-to-back huge games. And, this laying doubles in a non-divisional matchup, it's just one of those spots for the Rams that you wonder about the focus for the full 40 minutes, especially because after this, they have Seattle and San Fran next, 2 big-time divisional matchups. So really, this is their letdown game, and I think the markets see that already. That's why we're not seeing a ton. I thought there was a decent chance this line might go to 10.5 everywhere. That hasn't happened on Monday morning, so it's where I think the markets are concerned about this spot for LA.
Teddy, let's stay out west as the Seahawks visit the Cardinals. This one in Arizona, 47.5 being the total, with the Seahawks laying 4 on the road.
Yeah, look headline with Seattle minus 3, minus 120. My powering number is Seattle minus 5.5. There have been positives for Arizona. Okay, there have been. Kyler Murray's done some, a handful of nice throws. Boy, he does some scary stuff in the pocket. But it's a very flawed football team. And the markets are starting to see that. There were 3.5 last night or 3s, and now it's up to 4. I think this can only go higher, especially with Seattle off a loss. And, the Seahawks had this whole game plan for beating Teddy Bridgewater yesterday. They're like, we're going to blitz him. We're going to make him look crazy. And then Bridgewater got the ball out of his hands in like an average of 2.4 seconds. They never touched him. Murray doesn't get the ball out of his hands quite that quickly. Advantage Seattle. I would expect to see some Seahawks money.
All right, Teddy. We'll head to Minnesota at Chicago. Limited marketplace here with Chicago playing, but seeing 3 or 2.5, 38 the total.
Look at line, Chicago -3. My powering number right now, Chicago -1.5. This line will clearly be affected by what we see on Monday Night Football. If the Bears look good, it'll be a firm 3. If the Bears look bad, it'll be less than 3. So it's one of those situations where you can make 2 bets. You know, if you like Chicago tonight, you bet on them here. You bet on them at 2.5 for next week. You'll get the best of the number if you're right about the handicap for tonight. If you don't like the Bears tonight, you know, you bet against them here. You bet against them next week, and you see if you can find. Are there +3s? Yeah, there are a handful of 3s out there right now. Right now that you can find as we record. So you grab the +3 with Minnesota and say, hey, this is the best I'm going to get because Chicago's going to look like crap tonight. And then if you cash your ticket against the Bears, on Washington this evening, you'll also have the best of the number for Minnesota next week. So that's just one way you can approach a game like this where it's not a mature market. Both teams, one of the 2 teams is going to play on Monday Night Football.
And Teddy, you say there's a handful of 3s out there. It's interesting because the offshores are kind of staying away. I've seen more so than the Vegas books go ahead and put out a number, even though they're playing tonight, huh?
Yeah, I'm seeing numbers just about everywhere. You know, it's not like the books are shy about putting on numbers for teams in Monday Night Football. The limits are lower, and it's not. Well, again, it's not a mature market, but you can get down. You know, and you can get down at most books on this game for next week. That won't be the case after kickoff tonight. They'll wait till the morning for the repost, or a lot of them wait till the morning for they repost. But you can get down. You should be able to get down all day on this one if you want to.
All right, just a couple games left here, guys. We got Jacksonville at Denver. Broncos laying 3 with some juice. 38 the total, Teddy.
Yeah, look at line here was Denver -3. My powering number only has Denver -1.5. Broncos 0 sacks, 0 turnover force through 3 games. That doesn't happen in the NFL. I think it's only happened once before. And that's some randomness to that. Minshew's a guy who gets the ball out of his hands quickly, though. The Jags are certainly a work in progress right now, but their defense has basically dominated the last 2 games. Denver's offense isn't any good. I guess this is supposed to be the Broncos spot, the 0-3 team that's going to play like their hair's on fire at home, and the Jags a little bit fat and happy off the win. But again, my powering numbers say you can't lay 3 with Denver here. The market's in the process of moving this game up to 3.5. If you like the Broncos, find a 3 today.
All right, we got the Sunday Nighter. And guys, remember the podcast coupon code, good for 48 hours here. Teddy 400, TEDDY 400, Teddy 400 at checkout for his college football and NFL full season package all the way through the Super Bowl / national championship. You get a Super Bowl props package. All of that, no extra charges later, just a one-time price for $6.95 there. Teddy 400 at checkout will take $400 off for the next 48 hours. Sunday night game here, Teddy. Dallas at New Orleans, seeing the Cowboys laying 3 in the Big Easy, 46 the total.
Look at line, Dallas -2.5. My powering number, Dallas -1.5. There's a couple things worth talking about in this game. Dallas has beaten the Giants, the Redskins, and the Dolphins. All 3 of them are bottom 5 NFL teams. Now they're facing a real team on the road, and they're laying a price. You know what side let's put it this way. I won't be on Dallas this week. The question is, what's New Orleans? And the market's crashed on the Saints after they lost to the Rams. And they're not going to love New Orleans. I mean, again, the box score number from yesterday says Seattle was a better team, and the Saints got lucky. And the Saints did get lucky in the sense that Bridgewater never trailed. It wasn't we got to come from behind, and this quarterback's got to throw the football all over the place. They were able to make enough big plays on defense and special teams to be in control of the game pretty much throughout. So this is one where certainly, the handicap for the New Orleans side of the equation is I don't want Teddy Bridgewater coming from behind, but if the Saints can make enough plays on the other units so that Bridgewater doesn't have to come from behind, that might be a good bet in this one. Markets are showing very little right now on Monday. It's sitting at 3, although, again, pennies at 3 plus a penny on Dallas. So there's at least some sharp support early for New Orleans in the marketplace. And my powering number at 1.5 says maybe we'll see some more sharp support for the Saints before this is all said and done. If you like New Orleans at 3, I don't think it's going to get better than 3 for the Saints. So you may want to grab it now.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Good handicap there on the Dallas Cowboys side. Plus, New Orleans a tricky handicap themselves with the quarterback position. So good one on Sunday night. We also got a good one here on Monday. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Looks like the Steelers laying 443.5 the total, Teddy.
So it's funny because the one thing you're not supposed to see in September is you say it's a pretty good one on Monday night. Yeah, sure, that was an interesting game. This is a dud. These are 2 0-3 teams playing on Monday Night Football, and that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, no, I meant the handicapping angle, not necessarily the game, just because of the quarterback situation on Pittsburgh. But
look ahead line here with Steelers minus 3.5. My powering number is Steelers minus 3. What do we say about? I mean, look, there's a lot to talk about both these teams. I got opinions. I got so many opinions in the NFL about information. So here's the information on Cincinnati. Let me give you the information on Pittsburgh first. Mason Rudolph was god-awful yesterday. All right? I thought Rudolph would be better than he was. He was better in the preseason. Maybe it was first game yips. The only passes he completed downfield were passes where someone was wide open because the 49ers secondary broke down or something. He had a couple of those. But Mason Rudolph was pretty bad. James Conner had the fumble that cost him the game. The offensive line didn't protect the team. We saw Minkah Fitzpatrick have a huge impact in the first game for the Steelers. He had a forced fumble. He had an interception. Both were in the first half. He had a great pass breakup. And yet, when all said and done, Pittsburgh creates 5 turnovers. They finished with a +3 or +4. Oh, because Connor's turnover made it +3 instead of +4 at the end. And they lost the game. And I mean, there was 4 turnovers in the first half. They were up 6-0. Pittsburgh's not any good. And the markets, I don't know that they're and again, my powering number here is 3. Cincinnati's not any good either. And Zach Taylor looks really overmatched. And, the Bengals rallied from behind yesterday and then found a way to lose, which is what the Andy Dalton's teams tend to do. But in terms of buy signs on Cincy, I got nothing right now. And after the game, again, you read the coach's quotes, you read the player quotes. Zach Taylor's like, well, we've been so unlucky. No, dude, you just haven't been good. You're finding ways to lose. That's not a team I'm excited about putting my money on. The markets aren't going to be thrilled on Pittsburgh here. Again, the 4.5s, there are a couple of them out there. The broader market's moving to 4 right now. But Cincy's not going to get any support in the betting market this week. So at 4, you may want to lay with Pittsburgh because, again, that number's not going to go any lower than that. If you like the Steelers, that's your buy price.
Teddy, great stuff as always. NFL opening line report each and every Monday of football season, breaking down where these lines are going with Teddy covers 58% in the NFL since 2015, 58% in 2018 combined in the NFL and college football at 81 and 58, and also 60% start to the season in NFL and college football. Check out his packages at sportsmemo.com and the coupon code Teddy400 at checkout will take $400 off his full season package for college football and the NFL. Teddy, any last words of advice for the bettors before we shut this down?
Yeah, enjoy the games and good luck. We'll talk to you again later in the week.
All right, we'll have Teddy back on for college football, every game on the board on Thursday. So, guys, stay tuned. Best of luck with your bets.